Welcome to the next challenge in this course, the B1 level. And before we start with some more difficult structures and some extra explanations, it's best just to revise. And of course to include some new rules to see how everything is applied in practice. So the first 3 lectures will help you to get aware of almost everything that we have passed through so far. If you're starting the course right now, please remember this. Here, I'm not going to explain everything in details, just because there were lectures in the previous levels where everything is explained really word by word. So if you find something difficult, just find the lecture in A1 or in A2 level, watch it, and come back to it. Present simple, present continuous. In short, he, she, present simple receives s at the end of the verb. The negatives are formed with doesn't when we talk about him and her, with don't in all other persons. The question does, or respectively do, and the basic form of the verb. You use it when you speak about something which happens usually. You use it with the adverbs of frequency, always, sometimes, regularly, and so on. When you speak about something which is happening now, at the moment, you need to use present continuous. Present continuous, the other present tense that we know so far, it is formed with the ing form of the verb, and of course you don't forget the form of the verb to be. I am talking, I'm not talking. Something else important about present simple and present continuous. There are verbs which are always used in present simple only, or always used in their simple forms, is even more correctly said. Because these rules that we are discussing now about present simple and present continuous refer to past simple and past continuous as well. These, the stative verb forms, cannot be used in continuous tenses in general. Examples on the screen. It's important here to understand the logic. Verbs which express your opinion, verbs which express your thoughts, your feelings, your understanding, they are stative in English. They are not used in ing forms regardless of the context. If you want to say, I understand you now, well, that's it. You can't say I am understanding you. Now, the tense marker for present continuous is ignored in these sentences. Here they are grouped. And it's really more important to understand the logic, not to memorize the verbs themselves. Keep in mind that these are just the most common examples. There are numerous other verbs that can be added to each of these groups. So exactly because of that, please remember the logic, not the verbs themselves. The other thing that you do already know about present simple and present continuous is this. There are verbs which can be used in continuous and in simple form, and there is difference in their meaning. For example, the verb think. I think, I believe, I think you're cool. That's my opinion. So when you express opinion, you use the simple form. When you want to say that you are considering something, that you are trying to decide on something more important, then you need the continuous form of think. I'm thinking of buying a car. It's a process that is supposed to result in a decision that you will take at the end. Have, same story here. When you express possession, only simple form. When have is part of a phrase, then you can use it in continuous form. And you also remember that look and feel can be used in their continuous and their simple forms without any change in the meaning. All this said, we are going to pass through the PDF. You're doing the exercises, we are checking them together, known story. In the first exercise, you need to finish the sentences. After that, present simple, you need to fill in with the correct positive or negative form. Keep in mind the instructions here. It's not set what form you need to think it up. And after that, you need to correct the sentences, and in the last exercise, to fill in with present simple or present continuous. You see that the exercises are getting more, even a little bit more difficult. So see you in the answer section. Present simple or present continuous? Let's check your answers. So in the first exercise, you needed to finish the sentences. Your sister calls in the middle of your favorite episode. Is it important? I am watching a movie at the moment, so present continuous. You need to do a piece of writing. The music is very loud. May you turn it down? I am trying to write something. If you pay attention to the grammar in this sentence, you will see that you actually practice several structures. I'm trying, present continuous. Pay attention to the spelling. Why? ing added after that. When you add the ing form, y is never changed. Try to do something. Try plus to plus verb. And something because you have positive sentence and you speak about things. You do know a lot already, no? Okay, number 3. A friend calls you when you are at the cinema. Sorry, I can't talk now. I am at the cinema. The verb to be, present simple, present continuous, there is no difference in the form. Number 4. You want to get off the bus, but the man next to you is sitting on your gloves. Excuse me, I'm getting off. I need my gloves. I need something. Present simple because the verb need is a stative verb, so it can't receive the ing form. You can't say I'm needing. A friend wants to talk to you, but you have just started writing a letter. Can I talk to you later? I'm writing a letter now. Now, present continuous. The verb to be plus the verb plus ing. Next exercise. Tom is an introvert. He doesn't know a lot of people. In general, present simple, negative. There will be free places in the restaurant. You don't need to book in advance. It's not necessary, in general. Stative verb. Is everything all right with Anne? She looks quite depressed. She looks. Again, stative verb. Present simple. Don't try to call him. His phone doesn't work. In general. Or his phone isn't working. Now. It's not clear from the context here. Matthew is really good at tennis. He wins every game. In general, he does it every time. After that, you need to correct the sentences. The children doing their homework now. The children are doing. The verb to be plus verb plus ing. Anne wears her new coat today. Today, by contrast to the other days. Because of that, you need present continuous, not present simple. Anne is wearing her new coat today. Number 3. This cake is tasting really delicious. Taste, one of the verbs which can't be used in continuous tenses. So this cake tastes. 4. Rob is catching the same bus every morning. Every morning, repetitive action, which means present simple. Rob catches. Then, what does this word mean? No, you can't use it on this way. The correct sentence, what does this word mean? The correct way to form a question in present simple. Hurry up, we are being late. It refers to something now, so it is present continuous. But you can't say we are being. You need to say we are. The verb to be in present simple and in present continuous is with the same form. Why? Because it can't be used in continuous tenses. We are late. And the last one, present simple or present continuous. Is Tom in? Question with the verb to be. Yes, but I think, in general, he is busy at the moment. Be in present continuous, the same as in present simple. He is doing his homework. At the moment, he is doing his homework. I am thinking of buying a car. I consider it. I am trying to reach a decision. I am thinking of buying. Why do you need to change the current one? Why do you need in general to change the current one? Your shirt looks cool. Thanks. I don't like it in fact, but I don't know why I bought it. So here you're careful about the stative verbs. 4. Why do you want to change the whole plan? Why do you want, not why are you wanting. Want, stative verb. I don't understand you. In general, stative verb. I want to improve it. That's all. So this situation is happening at the moment, but it doesn't matter because regardless of this, when you use stative verbs, you use the simple forms. Good beginning. Probably you've noticed that I started using a little bit more complicated structures. I started talking a little bit faster, just a little bit, and that will not be all the time. So if you have any problems with the speed, please use the mechanism in Udemy and just make it a little bit slower. Okay? You can regulate the speed. See you in the next video. After present simple and present continuous, of course, past tenses. And we are going to revise past simple, past continuous, past perfect. Past simple, you use it when the action is finished and it is in the past. When you speak about actions that happened one after another in the past, you use past simple as well. For example, I finished work, I went to the shop, then I came back home. Past continuous, you use it when an action is in progress in the past. The markers here, while, or something was happening when something else interrupted it and happened. Past perfect is connected with the past only, again, and you need to always associate it with two actions. The one that happened first chronologically is in past perfect. The second one, which happened after this one, is in past simple. Enough with the general talking. Let's do the exercises. PDF attached. Pause the video, do the exercises, and we are checking. The first one. Past simple or past continuous make sentences. While he was carrying the suitcase, he dropped it. The first one, in progress. While it was happening, in the middle of it, something happened. He dropped it. Dropped, double P. Why? Drop, short verb, which finishes in consonant, vowel, consonant. He broke his leg while he was playing tennis. While he was playing tennis, continuous. Why? Because it was something that was happening for a period of time in the past. While the first one was happening, something else happened. Past simple. He was drawing while I was painting. The two actions were happening simultaneously in the past. Both of them occupied a period of time. He was drawing while I was painting. His hair caught fire while he was cooking. He was cooking, an action in progress. While this one was happening, something else happened. His hair caught fire. While I was reading, the lights went off. While the first thing was happening, the first action was happening, something else happened. This second action goes in past simple, of course. Then, combine the two sentences in one, past tenses again. I took the book back after I'd read it. So what you need to be careful here, you need to express the fact that chronologically one thing happened, after that happened something else. This thing which happened first, yes, in past perfect. The other one in past simple. So first I had read it, after that I took it back. The second one. The students had already passed the test when they shared their opinion. First they passed the test, after that they shared their opinion. Tom bought a bike because he'd collected some money. First he collected the money, after that he bought the bike. The first action which happened, the first chronologically happening action, in past perfect. Okay. After Anne hadn't explained anything, she was fired. So first something hadn't happened. Chronologically is the fact that Anne hadn't explained anything. After that, she was fired. When Anne came, I had taken a shower. So first I had taken the shower, after that Anne came. The first action which happened, chronologically first, is yes, in past perfect. Last exercise. It happened, so be careful here, this is one of the first times in which we are having a story in the past. You really need to be focused while doing such kind of exercises. It happened last April at the airport. Past simple is the main tense in every story. A few weeks before, so we are moving one step back in time, a group of us had decided, past perfect, to go to Italy together for a holiday. We were waiting in the queue at the moment while this one was happening, so the main tense is past simple. If something is happening at the moment and it is taking a period of time, yes, past continuous. We were waiting in the queue at passport control when suddenly, so the first action was in progress, we were waiting, it was interrupted. We realized, while we were waiting, that I had forgotten my passport. I had forgotten it before we started waiting. Because of that, past perfect. It was quite a shock. Main story. I hurried to a phone and rang my parents. Actions that happened one after another. They were working, continuous action, in the garden. But luckily my mother heard, in the middle of working, so in the middle of the continuous action, she heard, past simple, the phone. The passport, be careful here, was found and immediately driven. You always need to be careful about the context of the sentences. You need to be careful if you speak about something which is actively happening or if you need passive. So the passport was found, passive, and immediately driven or was immediately driven. It doesn't matter if you will use was in the second place. Both ways it's correct. I met them, main story, at the information desk. We didn't have any time, main story, but I had said goodbye to them earlier, something which happened before the main past tense, past perfect. I could catch the plane on time. Can, could. Could is again a modal verb, which means that you need just the infinitive after that. Main story, past simple. Again, you notice the exercises are getting more and more interesting. At least I like them. Great. See you in the next video where we'll be revising the future tenses. See you. After the present and the past tenses, it's time to revise what you remember from future tenses. The PDF is attached after the lecture, so please open, do the exercises. First here we are revising, after that checking everything. As we speak about the future, you need to remember that there are future tenses and there are future forms. Starting with present simple, its future meaning is associated with scheduled activities and timetables. The plane arrives, the film starts, the class finishes. Present continuous goes with personal arrangements, with meetings. I'm seeing some friends. I'm seeing my doctor. So this is personal arrangement. Will has several usages in the future. When you believe or hope or think that something will happen, something that is based on your own acceptation, then you use will. I believe you will come. I think you will succeed. I hope he will do it. Also, when there is a spontaneous decision, for example, you are walking down the street, you see something, you decide that you want to buy it. Here there isn't any plan in advance. There isn't a decision based on some thinking over the problem. It's spontaneously done. In this situation, well. The third usage, promises. I promise I will do it. I promise I will help you. Be going to, plans. You are going to do something based on something that you have decided. So you decide on something in the past, you say it in the present, this thing is to happen in the future, be going to. And last but not least, you see something and you decide that something else will happen. It's a prediction again, but by contrast with will, it's a prediction based on facts. Let's practice. The PDF is attached. If you haven't done it, please pause the video. Now is the moment because we are starting with a tick. Okay, the first one, will or be going to? Have you bought a ticket? Yes, I'm going to see the play on Monday. So you have decided that you are going to do something, and this is your plan. I'm going to. Please stop that alarm. It's awful. Okay, I'll switch it off. Imagine the situation. It's early in the morning, and this is what you're saying. You just hear your alarm on, and you want to continue sleeping. So you just say, okay, I'll switch it off. Spontaneous decision. Do you have any plans for the afternoon? Yes, I'm seeing my nephew. Any plans? Personal plans. So be going to. Here you can say also, I'm going to see my nephew. But it's used more officially, in more official situations, in official meetings. Then it's preferable to use be going to. It's confirmed. They are selling the house. No, why not? Because it's a plan. And when it's a plan, you're using be going to. They are going to sell that land. It's my birthday soon. I'll be 20 on Monday. So this is something fixed. It's as a timetable. You can't do anything on this one. Oh, are you going to have a party? Do you have the plan of doing it? Correct the sentences. I'm hungry. I'm going to have something to eat. I will have. Why? Because you're hungry at the moment, and your spontaneous decision is that you want to eat something. It's not a plan that you have thought over. So I will have. What time is the bus getting to Liverpool? Timetable, present simple. What time does the bus get? We've arranged it. We'll meet at 9. We've arranged it. Personal arrangement. Present continuous. We are meeting. It's confirmed. I work in Morocco. I'm going to work. Plan. I'm going to turn 19 in a week. No, it's scheduled. It's up to the calendar. So I'll turn 19 in a week. I don't want potatoes. I think I'm going to have the fish omelette. At the moment, they offered you potatoes. At the moment, you're saying that you prefer fish. So, will, spontaneous decision. Last exercise, you need to paraphrase. So, express your instant decision to go out. Instant decision, will. I will go out. Intention to have a rest. I'm going to have a rest. It means that you've already considered it, you believe that this is true, and you want it to happen in the future. 3. The timetable shows that the start of the movie is at 6. Timetable, present simple. The movie starts at 6. Predict UFO invasion. There will be UFO invasion. So why? You predict based on your own experience, based on your thoughts and beliefs, not based on the facts. Will. You have arranged a game of tennis. Personal arrangement. Be going to. We are going to play tomorrow. Say you believe in the change of weather. I believe the weather will change. I hope, I believe, I think, well. Enough for now with the revision part. Let's keep on working. Next lecture, more things to understand, to practice after that. See you. At the beginning of the previous lecture, I told you to be careful with the future, because here we speak about future tenses as well as forms and structures for expressing future activities. Well, this is what I meant. Be to, be about to. These are just structures, just indicators for the future. These are not tenses. Let's see them in practice. The minister is to arrive on Monday. Is to arrive. The Olympic Games are to take place in London. Are to take place. The theater is to open in autumn. Is to open. So in these three sentences, you see one and the same structure used. Be, to, after that the infinitive. And the meaning is that there is a future event, and this future event is officially arranged. The difference with present continuous for arrangement is that the be-to structure is more official. It is used in more formal environment. This is to happen. It means that this is going to happen, but in an official context. And such structures are quite commonly used in the news. Of course, when you start preparing yourselves for different certification exams, or when you just want to express yourself in a more formal register, then you are going to use this is to happen, this is to take place, and so on. The other structure, be about to. The plane is about to take off. Is about to. The rain is about to start any moment now. That cat is about to attack. Be about to. The meaning here is that something will happen in the very near future. This one can be used in formal as well as in informal context. So, in short, something is to happen, something is officially arranged to happen, and this is formal structure used as a part of your formal register. Something is about to happen, it's on the verge of happening, another way to say it. So this is something that will happen in the very near future. One exercise, pause the video, do it. You need to choose between be to and be about to. Okay, the film is about to start any minute now. In the near future. Is about to. The museum is to open this summer. Officially arranged event, an activity that is usually reported on this way in the news. The Prime Minister is about to speak in 5 minutes. In the near future. Is about to. The official talks are to take place later this year. Officially arranged event. The President is to visit Italy in May. Is to visit. Okay. Is to is about to. Are about to. Practice by yourselves. Do some sentences of your own. I'll check them if you upload in the Q&A section. See you in the next video. Something else that you should consider when using future tenses are the future clauses. Let's first see them in practice. After that, we'll understand what and how to use. Here's a short text to introduce you to the idea of future clauses. I've got a meeting at 8 tomorrow morning. I'm driving up there overnight. That's insane. You'll be exhausted before you arrive. Why don't you take the bus? No way. I'll need my car while I'm there. I'll sleep when I get home. So deliberately I read some parts of the text a little bit slower. These exactly are the future clauses. You'll be exhausted before you arrive. I'll need my car while I'm there. I'll sleep when I get there. Look at these three sentences. What do you notice? As structure, they are identical. So in the first part, you have will future. After that, some kind of linking. After that, pay attention, present simple. It's quite common mistake for people to say something as I'll sleep when I'll get there, or you'll be exhausted before you will arrive. No, when there is a sentence, the first part of which is in the future, after that linking comes. After the linking, you are in present simple. You don't need the future here again. Some more examples. I'm starting a job after I finish college. It's not will, but it's I'm starting. Present continuous with future meaning. So it's your arrangement. I'm starting a job after I finish, not after I will finish. As soon as you understand something, the sentence here understands with the linking and present simple after that. Will we come? Future. The whole sentence refers to the future. Just the first part is the future clause. I need to go to the pharmacy before it closes. Before, after that, present simple. Practice. The PDF is attached with the exercises. Pause the video, do the exercises, and we are checking them. Okay. In the first one, you need to finish the sentences, or in other words, to form the correct future clauses. I'll be ready, future tense, as soon as, linking, he is, present simple. Same logic in the sentences below. Please call us when you return. After the linking, you don't use future will. You use present simple. He will drive you there whenever you need. I will wait for you until you are back. I'm going to talk to her before she leaves. Present simple after each of these linking words. Next one. You need to complete the sentences here. Soon after Jack sees the doctor tomorrow, he will be all right. Soon after, linking. After linking, present simple. In the second part of the sentence is the future form, the will future. As soon as, linking, we get married, we will live in LA. We will live. Future in the second part. Whenever you are hungry, future clause, you can take anything from the fridge. Not whenever you will be. After linking, again, present simple. And the last two sentences, the moment he leaves, the room will be empty. Linking, present simple, will. Before I change my job, I must tell my boss. Good job. Next lecture is waiting for you. Probably you've noticed that at the beginning, after doing revision of all of the tenses that we have passed through, we didn't pay attention to present perfect. Well, the idea was that this will happen now, in the context of comparison. Before we come back to present perfect, let's learn something new. Present perfect continuous. And it's a tense that you will find quite useful in a lot of situations. So let's just check it first. I've been waiting for you for 40 minutes. I've been waiting. He's been driving all night. He's exhausted. He's been working here since March. He's been working. All of these sentences were examples for present perfect continuous. And before starting with the different usages and explanations what and how, first we are checking how it is formed. In a positive sentence, you have noticed what you need is the correct form of the auxiliary have, which means I have, you have, he, she, it has. After that, always been, always. After that, the verb plus ing. Have or has plus been plus the verb with ing. These are the forms of present perfect continuous as a positive forms. Of course, there are negative and questions. To form a negative sentence, you need to add not to the auxiliary. I haven't, he hasn't. I haven't been waiting. He hasn't been waiting. It's logically as it's almost the same as present perfect. I mean as structure. So the difference here again, haven't or hasn't, then been. Been is not the marker of passive voice. Been is the marker in distance of present perfect continuous. After that comes the verb plus ing. When you want to ask a question in present perfect continuous, what you need to do is to start with the auxiliary have. Have you been? Has he been? Present perfect continuous. Let's now pay attention to the usage. How it is formed, it's clear. I've been waiting for you for 20 minutes. I've been waiting for you for 40 minutes. He's been driving all night. He's exhausted now. Okay, the first thing that you need to remember about present perfect continuous is that it refers to a period which started in the past and which is continuing up to the moment of speaking. This is important. Period started in the past, continuing up to the moment of speaking. Imagine the first situation. The person is coming and the other one is saying, I've been waiting for you for 40 minutes so far. So, progress, something started in the past, continuing to the present. When you use present perfect continuous, here the period is important. You want to put the emphasis on the period, on the fact that it took quite a long time for the action to happen. And the action is what is important. The fact that something was continuing for over a period of time. This is what you emphasize when you use present perfect continuous. Let's do some exercises and I'm sure that it will be clearer for you in this way. Checking the PDF first. So in the first exercise, present perfect continuous with for or since. Why? I'll explain in the answer section. And the second one, you need to form sentences using present perfect continuous. Of course, to explain to yourselves why this tense is used. Good luck. See you in the answer section. Let's see present perfect continuous in practice. So, in the first exercise, you needed to fill in with the correct form of present perfect continuous plus for or since. You remember I told you that for and since are markers for present perfect and for present perfect continuous. What's the difference and how to understand in which sentence you need to use present perfect and in which one present perfect continuous, we will explain in the next video. For now, just do the exercise. Present perfect continuous plus for or since. The rules for and since are the same that you know. For, period, since, moment. Difference with present perfect again in the next video. So let's get started. Tom has been learning English for 5 years. Period. My friends have been living here since 2003. Moment. I have been waiting for Anne for 20 minutes. Period. Pete and Dan have been traveling around Australia for 6 weeks. Period. Alex has been exercising in the gym since 2 o'clock. Moment. Okay. In the next exercise, form sentences in present perfect continuous. The aims of these two exercises, again, to get used to the tense, to get used to using the forms. Kevin has been reading for 3 hours. Don't forget that you need markers here as well, markers which are not in the words given. Kevin has been reading for period. Have you been watching TV since 8 o'clock? Have you been watching present perfect continuous since moment? They have been playing cards for a long time. Have been playing present perfect continuous for period, for a long time. How long have they known each other? And be careful here. Okay, how long have they known? Not how long have they been knowing. Why? Because you know that the verb know is stative verb. Yes, I told you that stative verbs are never used in continuous tenses. Guess what? Present perfect continuous is continuous tense. So, have they known? And the last one, they have been dating since last week. They have been dating present perfect continuous since moment, since last week. Time to see the differences between present perfect and present perfect continuous, and why for and since can be used with both. See you. When you are doing a grammar exercise and the instructions are clear, for example, use present perfect or use present perfect continuous, everything is fine. But in real life, nobody is going to tell you use this tense or use that tense. Because of that, you need to know the differences and you need to be able to choose which structure best matches the ideas that you want to express. Because, again, grammar helps you speak. It helps you express yourself. So let's see what's the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous, and in what situations which tense you will need. Several things you need to consider. Let's start with the examples and you understand the differences. I have done the homework already. I'm going out. Okay, take care. I have done the homework, which means that the action is finished. At some moment you have already done it, and the result is in the present. Here the result is important, that the homework now is done. In present perfect continuous, the situation would look like this. I have been doing this homework for 3 hours now. May I go out? No, finish it first. So, in present perfect continuous, you don't say if the action is finished or not. The accent here is on the period. It took you a long time. I have been doing. Whether it is finished or not, it's not said. After that, how many books have you read so far? How many when you ask for a number? This is your marker for present perfect. How many? By contrast, when you ask how long and you need to answer with for, when you ask for a period, well, in this case, you need present perfect continuous. Remember these: finished action, present perfect; not finished, present perfect continuous. In present perfect, the result is important. Something happened in the past, it doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how long it took you, and the result of this action is in the present. In present perfect continuous, the period is what matters. The fact that this has been taking a period of time. How many? Present perfect. How long? Present perfect continuous. Something else. We have known each other for 5 years. Well, this is what you need to be careful about. The dative verbs again. When it comes to how long, to an answer of the question how long, you need to be careful in the choice of your verb form up to this, if the verb is dative or not. Verbs that are not used in ing form are not used in present perfect continuous as well. That's why for and since are used with present perfect with verbs that do not accept ing forms, and for and since are used with present perfect continuous, well, with almost all other verbs and in almost all other situations. The last thing you need to be careful about: we have lived or we have been living, we have worked or we have been working. In these situations, these two verbs, in these situations, you can use whichever verb form you prefer. It doesn't matter. The meaning is the same. Present perfect or present perfect continuous with live and work have the same meaning. Exercises. It's only one, so pause the video, do it, and we are checking it now. Okay, present perfect or present perfect continuous. How long have you known Tom? Have you known? Why? Because you have a stative verb. It doesn't matter that it answers the question how long. You can't say how long have you been knowing. No. Number 2, you look dirty. What have you been doing all day? So the result is that you look dirty. And here is important the duration of the activity. What have you been doing? Present perfect continuous. How many times? Just the question is enough to understand that this is present perfect. So, how many times have you visited New York? How many times? And you ask about experience. Number 4, she has been learning French words for hours, but she still doesn't remember all of them. Unfinished activity. An action that started in the past and that is not still finished in the present perfect continuous, has been learning. The children have been watching videos for 2 hours. For how long? For 2 hours. As you don't have any other context here, the most logical usage is present perfect continuous. Has he been studying hard today? Has he been studying hard today? Action that took time. When the duration of the activity is important, again, present perfect continuous. My father has never smoked. Ever, never, recently, lately, markers for present perfect. You speak about experience here, so just present perfect. Okay, there will be more exercises on these, there will be more tests, so keep practicing and try to start using everything new that you learn from this course. Otherwise, you will start forgetting. So speak, write, share, ask, and let's get better together. See you in the next video. In the next mini-series of ours, we are going to speak about adverbs. But before starting with comparison and some more specific things about the adverbs, let's revise the basics. What's the difference between an adjective and an adverb? In what situation, which word we need? And spelling. This is what the focus of our lecture today will be. What you know so far is that the adverb is formed based on the adjective plus ly. For example, drives carefully, and the adverb defines the verb, how an action is done. The adjective, by contrast, defines the noun. What is something? How is something? Careful, driver. Careful, adjective. Drives carefully, carefully, adverb. But apart from this spelling, there are some exceptions. This is what we are describing now. So, for example, those trousers fit you nicely. French used to be widely spoken. You look lovely in that dress. You see, the adverb keeps ly when the adjective finishes in e. But there are some exceptions from the rule. It's hard to obtain truly independent advice. The company isn't wholly to blame. So there are cases in which the adverb finishes in e, but this e is not written when the adverb is formed. True, truly, whole, wholly. Something else. He was happily married with 2 young children. Luckily, I had some money with me. Happily, so the adjective finishes in consonant plus y. When the adjective finishes in consonant plus y, the adverb is formed with ly again, but be careful, y goes into I. Happily, luckily. Always for these spelling rules, try to memorize the examples, not the rules themselves. And based on the example, it will be quite easier for you to formulate the rule and to apply it to some different words. Something else. Your life changes dramatically when you have a baby. The shutter speed adjusts automatically. When the adjective finishes in IC, there are 2 situations. In the first case, you can need to add a dramatically or automatically, but there are adverbs which are formed without this additional a. Publicly apologized for their statement. So be careful, check when you're not sure, and just keep in mind that there are rules, there are exceptions from the rule. Rule: when the adjective finishes in IC, you need to add a. Exception from the rule: sometimes you don't need it. Let's do an exercise practicing adjectives and adverbs. Anne stood ached terribly, terrible, terribly. Tom shouted angrily at her. I can do this happily for hours. The machine is to switch automatically. We were doing this enthusiastically. Okay? So rules, exceptions from the rule. Always, when you are not sure about a spelling, check it in a dictionary. Next one. The taxi driver was seriously injured. Matthew is extremely clever. Be careful with this glass of tea. It's hot. Be careful. You, adjective, not adverb here. Tom is terribly upset about losing his keys. Terribly. Be careful with the adverb here as well when the adjective finishes in E, and you need to add a Y in general to form the adverb itself. Well, then you need only one L. L is not doubled. This is quite common mistake, in fact. Terrible, terribly. Our basket team played badly last Monday. Played badly. Adverb. We'll speak more about adverbs in the next several videos. So that was just an introduction. Keep practicing the spelling. Keep revising. See you in the next video. Adverbs. Again, in this video we'll speak about some more specific forms of adverbs, because there are adverbs that have different meaning from what you have expected. There are adjectives as well that look like adverbs. Here's what I mean. She is so friendly. We spent some lovely time together. This is a lovely city. You look lonely over there. So all of these are actually adjectives. They are not adverbs, although they finish in ly, so be careful. Something else that you need to remember. We did some hard work. He worked hard. Adjective and adverb one and the same. When you want to say that the work was hard, you use the adjective. Adverb has absolutely the same form. One more example like this. I caught the fast train. He runs fast, not fastly, please. He runs fast. This will be a long talk. I was waiting for long, not for longly. Hard, fast, long. You memorize them from now. There are more, and there are more specific usages, but for now, this is enough. Hard, fast, long. One and the same forms as adjectives and as adverbs. More examples like this. Deep, early, high, low. All of these are the same as adjective and as adverb. Don't try to say longly, highly, wowly, or lily, or whatever there comes to your mind. One and the same forms. Doesn't matter if the word in the sentence is an adjective or an adverb. Something else that's very important to understand and to memorize is that if you add a y at the end of some adverbs, then their meaning is changed. For example, I work hard, I hardly work. Completely different meaning. I hardly work means I almost don't work. Almost don't work. You see what differences this is here. One more. I found the key quite near. Okay? I've nearly fallen asleep. I've almost fallen asleep. I'm on the way to go to sleep. Near, nearly. Both of these are adverbs with completely different meaning. He came back late. It means that it was, for example, 12 o'clock at midnight. He came back late. I've been quite disorganized lately. You see, there is nothing to do with the original meaning of late. Lately, you know it. Recently, lately, yes, from there. marker for present perfect. We entered the hall free. I can always speak to you freely. So free without paying. Adjective and adverb one and the same. Freely has completely different meaning again. It means openly, without considering what I need and what I don't need to say. Freely. Different forms. Good and well. You know this one. She is a good pianist. She plays the piano well, not goodly. I had a bad dream. I slept badly last night. You don't need here worsely or something like that. I slept badly last night. All of the examples that you had in this lecture, please write them down, the sentences I mean, and think for examples of your own. You know this one already. The best way to memorize something is to associate it with your own example. One exercise, pause the video, do it, we are checking it in a minute. Hope it was easy. The exercise is hard. It means the exercise is difficult. That was a good movie. Adjective. That was a good movie. I could hardly sleep last night. Meaning, I almost couldn't sleep. I could hardly sleep. Not hard, but hardly. She speaks Italian well. Irregular form of the adverb. Good, adjective. Well, adverb. She speaks Italian well. It's hard to say when the job will be done. It's hard to say. It's difficult to say. Hard, not hardly here. My new car runs well. How does it run? Well. Adverb. Irregular form. Well. The air is so polluted that I can hardly breathe. Hardly? Almost I can't. I can hardly breathe. So be very careful which form of the adverb you are going to use, because although you didn't want it or didn't intend to do it, you can change the meaning of the sentence. Completely, I mean. See you in the next video. Last but not least, let's see how to compare adverbs. What is typical, what is familiar for you, and what you do already know. So the first thing that you need to remember is that comparison of adverbs is quite similar to comparison of adjectives. You just need to be sure which the correct form of the adverb is. After that, you apply the rules that you are aware of. For example, fast has the same form as an adverb and as an adjective, which means that the comparative and the superlative forms and rules applied are the same. Well is the adverb from good. Good, you know, is irregular adjective in terms of comparison, so the same goes with well. Well, better, the best. Carefully, more carefully, the most carefully. Friendly, more friendly, the most friendly. Friendlier, the most friendlier is also acceptable. When the forms of an adjective and an adverb are the same, both finish in ly, well, here it's up to you. You can form the comparative and the superlative form based on the short adjective rule, which means friendlier, the friendliest. Or you can go for the longer structure, more friendly, the most friendly. It's up to you. Little, same example as well, it takes the forms of the irregular comparatives of an adjective. little, less, the least. Practice. The exercises are attached. Take a look, and we are doing them. You need to push harder. Hard, short adverb, er. Tom speaks the best English in the class. The best English. Best, the superlative form of the adjective good. He spends his money more carelessly than he should. More than, comparative form. You can't say carelessly, right? You can't even make it with your tongue. So, more carelessly than. Tom does his work more seriously than Anne, unfortunately. More seriously than. Or you can say also less seriously than. The same logic as with the adjectives. When the adverb is long, you can use the less and the least forms. She speaks worse English than Anne. Or she speaks English worse than Anne. And the last one, among all, she has changed most radically since high school. Most radically. Starting with something new in the next video. See you there. Enough with adverbs. The next thing we are going to talk about are modal verbs. Yes, you know the basics, but the basics, remember. In every level, I will give you some extra information to help you upgrade your knowledge, to help you get better and more confident in the choice of the correct modal verb, in the choice of the correct grammar structure in general. So the modal verb we are going to focus on now is be able to. And let's see what's the difference between be able to and can. In the present, Anne can play the piano. Anne is able to play the piano. So in the present, the only difference between can and be able to is that be able to is more formal. Otherwise, as meaning, they have the same idea, they have the same meaning, physical ability or mental ability. There are situations, however, in which you can use only be able to, and you cannot use can. Here they are. For example, it's cool to be able to dance like that. It's nice to be able to draw like you. It's cool too. It's nice too. You know that there are patterns in English which need to plus infinitive. Well, in these cases, you need be able to. You can't say it's cool to can. No, it's cool to be able to. Another situation. He may be able to help you. Just ask him. Or she might be able to come tonight. After a modal verb, you cannot use another modal verb. You can't say he may be able to can. No, you need be able to. He may be able to. He might be able to. One more. I haven't been able to come. I've just been able to contact my boss. That's right. In perfect tenses, again, you need to use be able to. As meaning, just to repeat it, it has the same meaning as can, physical or mental ability. So let's see what the situation is like in the past. Could play the guitar when she was 20. When he was 20, Tom was able to play the guitar when he was 20. So when you speak about the past, one more example, she could swim when she was a child. She was able to swim across the river that day. There are situations in which you can use them as synonyms, as in the previous example. Tom could play when he was 20. Tom was able to play when he was 20. When you want to express an ability in the past, you can use could or be able to. And there are situations in which there is difference. She could swim when she was a child. You speak about general ability. She was able to swim across the river that day. Well, in this situation, when you want to express only momentous ability, you need to use be able to. Okay? General ability, can, could, or be able to. Momentous ability, be able to only. In the past, was or were. The forms of be able to. I am able to, you are, I was, you were, be able to. So examples, I was able to swim, he was able to come, they were able to do their homework, and so on. Be careful in the differences. In general, they are not a lot, but from time to time there are situations in which you need only be able to. In all of the other cases, you can choose between can and be able to. One example, pause the video, check the attached PDF, and we are checking it. Okay. I haven't been able to come on time. Perfect tense, you can't use can or could, be able to. My sister can cook really delicious. Can cook, general ability in the present, informal. If you want to make it more formal, my sister is able to cook. When she was 3, she could speak 3 languages. General ability in the past. Again, you can say she was able to speak 3 languages. General ability in the past. Her mother is French. She must be able to speak French. Must be able to. Modal verb plus be able to. You can't use another modal verb here. It was rainy, but they were able to finish the game. Well, only one option in this case. Be able to. When you express momentous ability, they were able to. I hope to be able to speak German soon. I really do. I hope to be able to. After to infinitive, you need only be able to. No other option here. I can do it. Trust me. General ability, present, informal context. If you want to make it more formal, I'm able to do it. Trust me. I trust you and you're really able to master English grammar. Let's keep on working on modal verbs in the next video. Our next challenge, to understand how to ask and how to give permission. So far, we know that we can do it with may as a modal verb. Well, yes, there are other ways, and yes, there are differences between these other ways. Here are some examples. Can I take a look at your notebook? Could I borrow your pen, please? May I take your pencil for a while? All of these are ways in which you can ask for permission, which means that as modal verbs, you can use can, could, or may at the beginning of the sentence. These are ways to ask for you something to be permitted. You can also give permissions. For example, can I take a look at your notebook? Of course, you can take a look whenever you want. So can is used for giving permission also. Could I borrow your pen, please? Of course, you you can borrow it. Can, again, it's important. Could is not used for giving permission. May I take your pencil? Of course, you may take it. So, for giving permission, two modal verbs you remember, can and may. Could is a little bit more formal than can. That's the only difference between them, a little bit. Something else which is new as a structure for you. When there is a rule and you require permission, but permission because of the rule, here your options are can or be able to. Let's see what's this in practice. Every passenger can take a piece of hand luggage, permitted by the plane rules. Every passenger is allowed to take piece of hand luggage. Is allowed to, the same as can, when you speak about a general permission to a rule in the present. In the past, some years ago, you couldn't take any luggage. So could here is the past tense of can, and because of that, it can be used for permission. Permission by written rules. Some years ago, you couldn't. Same story goes with the new structure. Some years ago, you weren't allowed to take any hand luggage. Remember this. Can or be allowed to do something. These are the two forms that you can use when you need permission by some written or spoken rules. In the past, can becomes could, and be allowed to, which is allowed to, becomes was or were allowed to. If you speak about the future, then you use only be allowed to, will be allowed to. Passengers will be allowed to take more than a piece of hand luggage in the future. Will be allowed to. One exercise to check if that was clear. So check the PDF or pause the video now. Do it, and we are checking. Alright. May I use your phone? You ask for permission. The same with can. Can I use your phone? Am I allowed to smoke in the theater? Permission by rules. Am I allowed? Pay attention to the way the question is formed. Am I allowed? Am I allowed to smoke? Am I allowed to swim? Same logic. In the weather. Am I allowed to swim in this weather? Rules. Am I allowed up to the rules? Am I allowed to ride a bike in this park? In general, up to the rules. Is there a prohibition? It's the same. May I borrow your book? It's a friend-to-friend request, asking for permission. And the last one, am I allowed to wear shorts at work? Is it written in the company rules somewhere that it's prohibited? Same logic. Am I allowed to? When you ask for permission by rules, again, you need to use be allowed to or can. In the past, were allowed to, and could. In all of the other cases, when you ask for permission, you can use may, can, or could. Could in this situation does not refer to the past, it refers to the present. Just it's a little bit more formal than can. When you want to give permission, in this case you need to use may or can. Well done. Next video is waiting for you. The next group of modal verbs that we will pay attention to are the modal verbs for deduction, or in other words, what you expect to happen, how many percent you're sure that something happened, and so on. Yes, when you hear how many percent, you know that we speak about may or might. And these are the forms that you do know already, in fact. May or might. He may come, he might come. He can come, he could come. Good. But there are two more, must and can't. And we are going to examine these two exactly because their usage is more specific. Examples. They can't live here anymore. Look at that house. They can't live. Obviously, it's not physical or mental disability here. They can't live. You can't be tired. We've just started. So, looking at these two examples, you can catch what's the common between them. Impossibility. Yes, you speak something that is impossible for something that you are sure that it's not true, something that you're sure that can't have happened, that didn't happen. Well, in this case, when you are 100% sure that something didn't happen, you use can't. Can't plus the infinitive. They can't live here because the house is dark. You can't be tired. It's impossible. We've just started. Must. Look at her. She must be pregnant. You're shining. You must be really happy. And these two situations now. She must be pregnant. You must be happy. Yes, I'm sure that you've understood that. Must is the opposite of can't, and the meaning is that you are 100% sure that something is true, that something happened. All of the modal verbs that you know, expressing predictions and making conclusions based on some facts so far. Starting with might, which gives you the least probability, 25%. After that are may and could. Both of them mean 50%. There is 50% something to have happened. Can, 75%. And must or can't, this is 100% possibility that something happened or didn't happen. Be careful, it's not mustn't. It's must, opposite can't. She must be at home. He can't be at home. He might come back. Okay. One exercise, check the PDF. And we are doing it together. Fill in the sentences with the correct modal verb. And why, of course. He can't come on time because of this heavy traffic, I'm sure. He can't come. It's impossible. We may go to the cinema today, but we haven't decided it yet. What about you? So here it's up to you. You can say we could, we might. It's just up to the meaning that you want to add to the sentence. Set on this way, it means that there is a 50% chance we to go or not to go. The third one. She must be at home. I can hear the music. It's obvious that there is somebody at home. You are 100% sure that something happened. She must be at home. No way, they can't be there. They're sitting on the table next to ours. So it's completely impossible this to have happened. They just can't be there. Well, that might be true, but to tell you the truth, I don't believe it at all. That might be true. It's possible to be true. There is a slight chance here. Look at the second part of the sentence. I don't believe it at all. Okay, the idea of this video and this series about modal verbs is to prove it to you again. It's important to know grammar, as these grammar structures will help you express yourselves better and give meaning to what you're saying a little bit deeper than just explaining with more and more words. Next video, see you there. Time to change the topic again. Enough with the modal verbs. We are moving to conditionals. Yes, we've studied some of them in the previous level, first and second conditional. But there are some other details, some of which I will give you in this lecture now. Some will come in the next level. Remember this step-by-step approach. If you try to memorize everything associated with a grammar in a single day or in a single lecture, you will not succeed in memorizing. Or, okay, you may memorize it, but you will not succeed in applying it after that. So please do follow the lectures on the way I ordered them. Don't try to memorize everything at once. This one said, let's get started. First, with what we know. And what we do know are first and second conditional. Examples for first. If you're late, your sister will be angry. If you need some advice, I'll help you. As structure, the sentence starts with if. After that is the verb in present simple, then comma. Please don't forget the comma, it's very important here. After that, will, first conditional. As meaning, you want to say that something is possible to happen. Something refers to the present and to the future, and it's possible to happen. First conditional. By contrast, in second conditional, the situation was a little bit more different. The examples. If I had my own house, I would be happier. If I knew German, I would move to Germany. The reality, I don't know German. I can't move to Germany. The reality in the first sentence, I don't have my own house. I live on the rent, unfortunately. So I'm not that happy. Structures. Both sentences start with if. After that comes past simple, then comma. Please remember the comma. After that, would plus the verb. If, past simple, would. Meaning of the structure. You speak about imaginary or hypothetical situation. Something imaginary, something hypothetical. Important. This is a sentence which reflects the present. The fact that we use past simple and would doesn't mean that this situation goes in the past. No, it's part of the present. If, past simple, would. Imaginary hypothetical situation in the present, second conditional. Well, that's the new part of the lecture, the zero conditional. And let's just look at the two sentences so that you will understand what is meant here. If you heat water, it boils at 100 degrees Celsius. If you heat water, it boils. In general, that's general truth, it usually happens. If you heat ice, it melts. That's it, science. You heat it, it melts. As structure. If, after that, present simple. After that, comma, always the comma is important. Then present simple again. Meaning. This is universal truth, scientific truth. It's nothing that depends on you or on your appreciation of the world or on your views. It's universal truth. In these cases, we need again zero conditional. Well done. First, second, zero conditionals. I think they are clear. If you have any problems with first and second, just reminding you that the precise and detailed explanations are in the previous level. So if you need, just come back and watch those videos again. Check the PDF. We are checking the exercises after that. Alright, it's one, and what you need to do is to choose between first and second conditional. If they had enough water, they wouldn't go thirsty, but they do. Because of this contrast, you need second conditional, exactly. If, past simple, would. If I see John, I will tell him your news. If I see him, and it's possible, I will tell him. It's not hypothetical. I will do it. She sleeps only 5 hours a day. If she slept longer, her health would improve fast. Reality. She sleeps 5 hours per day. If she slept longer, but she doesn't, her health would improve. Second conditional. If you freeze water, it turns to ice. Zero conditional. If you heat water, in general, or if you freeze water, in general, it turns to ice. Please don't be misled by the fact that in the instructions it said first or second conditional. It's one of the things that you will notice quite often in the grammar books. Sometimes they don't tell you that in fact another structure is needed to be used. So you just need to think. Remember that grammar is thinking and grammar is practice. Number five. If you need help with the luggage tomorrow, I will help you. In general, possible situation, first conditional. We will have picnic if the day is fine. So it's real situation. It's possible to happen. If the condition is completed, if the day is fine, we will have picnic. That's it. That was our introductory lecture. In the second one, there's a new conditional waiting for us. More exercises coming as well. See you there. As I've promised you in the previous video, after zero, first and second conditional, it's time to understand what third conditional is. And no, that's not the end of the conditionals, but let's say that this is the last new type of conditional for this level. Okay, situations. It snowed. We made a snowman. Yesterday, it really happened. And when you want to form the conditional sentence, it would seem and look like this. If it hadn't snowed, we wouldn't have made a snowman. You are making a hypothesis about the past. If it hadn't snowed, but it did, we wouldn't have made a snowman, but we did. Another example. Tom wasn't careful. He fell yesterday. If Tom had been more careful, he wouldn't have fallen. Again, you speak about the past, yesterday, and you are making a presumption. You are talking about a hypothesis. These two sentences. If it hadn't snowed, we wouldn't have made. If Tom had been more careful, we wouldn't have fallen. As structure, each of them starts with if. After that, the tenses, please be careful. Past perfect here. Past perfect after if, then comma, and after that, would, have, and the third form of the verb. If Past perfect would have third form of the verb. When you use third conditional, you refer to a hypothetical situation in the past. Hypothetical in the past. If past perfect would have done. Exercises. We are checking the PDF, the answers and the explanations in the next video. So in the first exercise, you need to form just third conditional. Imagine that all of these sentences refer to the past, so you do need third conditional and you're not thinking about this here. But you need to be careful about the way the sentences are formulated. Whether they start with if, whether they start with the second form. Idea of the exercise: to practice the grammar structure. After that, you need to rewrite sentences as conditionals. Again here, the main focus on third conditional. See you in the answer section. And time to check the exercises. Remember again, we are practicing the forms here, the usage of tenses, because it's important you not to think about the tense, but to think about the meaning. And talking about meanings, this will be the focus in our next lecture. So now, just let's see your answers. Let's check them. The first exercise, third conditional. I would have called if I had had a phone with me. I didn't call because I didn't have a telephone. That's the reality. If you hadn't been late, we wouldn't have missed the bus. Hypothetical about the past. The reality. You were late. Because of that, we missed the bus. Number 3. I would have believed you if you had tried to explain it. Reality. You didn't try to explain it, so I didn't believe you. The fourth one. If he had been to a musical school, he would have become a conductor. Reality. He was not a conductor because he did not go to a musical school. Number 5. We would have come if we had been invited. Be careful here. We would have come if we had been invited. Passive. So from now on, it will be really a rare case in which I will tell you active or passive. That was up to now. Now you just need to always consider it, whether you need the active or the passive form in the correct tense. The second exercise, you needed to rewrite the sentences as conditionals. I wasn't hungry. I didn't take a sandwich. If I had been hungry, I would have taken a sandwich. I didn't know Tom was in town. I didn't call him. If I had known that Tom was in town, I would have called him. I didn't know watching that movie was important for the exam. I didn't watch it. If I had known that movie was important, I would have watched it. 4. Careful here. I didn't go to the store. I thought it was closed, but I was wrong. I would have gone to the store if I had known it worked. You are changing the places of the if structure. I didn't see Anne at the party. I wanted to speak to her about her holiday. Conditional. If I had seen Anne, I would have spoken to her about the holiday. Good job. Time to practice everything. All of the conditionals, all of the tenses. So please, everything till now, I hope you have it written down. If not, take the piece of paper, take your notebook or wherever you are writing everything, and just memorize the verb patterns, the tenses, the usages, exercises only in the next video. See you there. Here we are in our next exercises video. So the instructions of these two exercises, conditionals, 0, first, second, third. The first one, rewrite the sentences as conditionals. I don't speak Italian. I can't apply for that job. Look at the situation. It's in the present, and you want to express something hypothetical. Hypothetical in the present, second conditional. Sentence in second conditional has the structure if, past simple, would. If I spoke Italian, I would be able to apply for that job, or I would apply for that job. The second one, she didn't marry him. She was too young then. Past, hypothetical situation, third conditional. If she hadn't been that young at that time, she would have married him. The third one, heat the ice, it will melt. Universal truth. 0 conditional. If you heat the ice, it melts. Number 4. Fortunately, I went on foot and met Tom. It's in the past, making it a conditional. If I hadn't gone on foot, I wouldn't have met Tom. 5. It was snowy. We didn't go out. When you see that the two situations refer to the past, so far you know only third conditional. So, starting directly. If it hadn't snowed, we wouldn't have gone out. Another exercise. I'd help you carry the piano. First you're checking the part which is already done for you. I'd help, I would help you. I would help you is the second part of second conditional. So, if I were stronger, but I'm not, I'd help you carry the piano. If we had seen, first part of third conditional, if we had seen you, we would have come, third conditional. We'll say hello. We'll say hello, future simple, the second part of first conditional. So, if we see him tomorrow, we will say hello. Number 4. He would have repaired the car himself. Would have repaired. This is the second part of which conditional? Third conditional, right. If he had the tools. If you drop the vase, in general, it breaks, or it will break. Here you can make it sound as an universal truth, but you can make it up to the case, because imagine that the vase is of plastic, for example. So in this case, it's possible to be either 0 or first conditional. And the last one, if I hadn't studied, past perfect. So if I hadn't studied, I wouldn't have passed the exam. I really hope the conditionals are easier now. See you in the next video, where I'll give you a little bit more information about conditional sentences with one hint more and one structure. See you. Short and easy. This is our last lecture about conditionals, at least in this level. The structure that I want to introduce you to is unless. So let's see what it means in some examples. I can't read the article if I don't wear glasses? I can't read this article unless I wear glasses. Look at the two sentences again carefully. If I don't wear, if plus negative verb. Unless plus positive verb. Unless is one of those words that bring the negative meaning in themselves. And you know that in English you can't have double negative, right? So what you need to do? Unless plus positive verb. Another example. I would come if it didn't snow. If plus negative verb. I would come unless it snowed. Unless plus positive verb. If I hadn't got married that early, I would have finished my studies. Unless I had got married that early, I would have finished my studies. Everything else that you know about the conditional sentences is applicable here. 0, first, second, third, you are master there. Just what I want you to remember now. If not is the same as unless. If requires negative verb after that. Unless goes always with a positive one. Short and easy, I told you. Just one exercise, do it by yourselves, and we are checking it. Good. I will take the job unless the pay is too low. Unless, if not. I will be back tomorrow unless there is a strike. If not. Let's go for a walk unless you're too busy. If you aren't too busy. If not. I'm going to work outside this afternoon unless it rains. If it doesn't rain. I will be surprised if he doesn't have an accident soon. If he doesn't. Negative verb, if. Unless you start now, you will not reach there in time. If you don't start now, so unless plus positive structure after that. And the last one, if I have enough time today, I will come and see you. If I have enough time. Logically, here you don't need negative verbs here. Good job, guys. Next lecture, yes, the Aramora is waiting for you. See you there. Before we start the next mini session, in which we'll speak about one and the same topic, I have prepared you something different. This is a structure that you need to be aware of in order to express yourselves again clearer and to be able to say what you mean using grammar structures. See doing, see do, or in other words, how to use the verbs of senses with other verbs. Examples? It's easy. I saw you cross the street. I saw you crossing the street. In the first example, I saw you cross the street, you see verb plus infinitive. I saw you cross. In the second example, you see verb plus gerund. I saw you crossing. So, what's the difference in the meaning? In the first case, I saw you cross, you see the whole action. You can really see it from the beginning to the end. In the second case, I saw you crossing, you mean that you saw just part of the action. So this is, when you use a verb of senses plus infinitive, you mean the whole action. When you use it plus gerund, you mean part of the action. Another example. I watched you play basketball, which means that I watched the whole game. Verb plus infinitive. I saw you playing basketball. So I didn't see the whole game, I just saw you playing, which means that you saw just part of the action. And of course, the easiest and the best way to practice what you've learned is with the exercises. Pause the video. These are the sentences. What you need to do is to write them, to combine them using verb plus gerund or verb plus infinitive. Okay. The bomb exploded. I heard it. I heard the bomb explode. Verb of senses here plus verb in infinitive. I heard the bomb explode. You heard the whole action. This is one of the cases in which you just can't hear part of the action. Number 2. A child was lying on the pavement. I saw her and tried to help. You combine them, and the idea that you want to produce here is that you saw part of the action. I saw a child lying on the pavement. I saw a child lying. Verb plus ing. You saw part of the action. Number 3. The whole flat shook. I felt it. I felt the whole flat shake. So the verb of senses, feel, and after that the infinitive. I felt the whole flat shake. You felt the whole action. You can't feel actually just part of the shaking, right? You just feel the shaking and that's it. Number 4. No idea when it started. When I woke up, the alarm was ringing. I heard it. So from the context here, you can understand that you heard just part of the whole action, because the alarm started ringing while you were sleeping and it continued ringing after that. You heard just part of it. I heard the alarm ringing. Number 5. I saw a woman. She was crying. I saw a woman crying. You saw part of the action here. It's not given in the context that you saw her, what made her distressed, why she started crying, how she started crying, and how she stopped after that. So you just saw part of the action. When you want to express this, that you saw part of the activity, then you use verb of senses plus verb plus ing. And number 6, I tried to warn Bob, but he fell. I saw him. Well, in this case, you saw the whole action. You tried to prevent it, after that you saw it, and after that you couldn't react. Whole action, verb plus infinitive. I saw Bob fall. Good job. You're ready for the next mini-series. Curious? See you in the next video. In this and the other several videos, we are starting to talk about another important topic in English grammar, and a big one, in short, reported speech, or what shall we do and how to do it when we want to say what somebody else said. Okay, in this video we'll focus on the change of tenses, only this one, because there are different changes that happen, there are different structures that are required, but you know, once at a time. And we are starting with examples. I like dancing. And after that, Tom said, okay, you're seeing what somebody else said. This is reported speech. Tom said he liked dancing. Like goes into liked. I am meeting Mark this afternoon. Tom said he was meeting Mark that afternoon. We have two changes here. The first one, I am meeting, goes into I was meeting. The second change, this, goes into that. I've never been to Germany. Tom said he had never been to Germany. Have been is changed to had been. I went to Italy last year. Tom said he had been to Italy the year before. Two changes again. Was goes into had been last year, goes into the year before. Okay, tenses and words. This is what is changed. So first, we are going to talk about the tenses change. Here are the examples that we have. Like, liked. I am meeting, I was meeting. Think about the tenses. Have been, had been. Was, had been. Again. Let's see it in grammar terms. So, when in direct speech we have present simple, in reported speech it goes into past simple. Direct speech, past simple. Reported speech, past perfect. Direct speech, will or future simple. Reported speech, would. It's important to catch the logic here. It's not learning by heart this time. So you see, everything goes one step back in time. Simple tenses go to simple tenses, but past simple. Past simple is different. Past simple, one step back, well, this is past perfect. That's why the transformation here is like this. So present simple, past perfect, future simple, would. Good. The continuous tenses. Present continuous goes into past continuous goes into past perfect continuous. Yes, I know that you don't know it, but it's not the most commonly used scenario in general, and you can form it. You know present perfect continuous, so just change have with had and welcome. That's it. Past perfect continuous. The other change, present perfect goes to past perfect, and past perfect stays past perfect. These changes, theoretically, please write them down. It's important first when you start studying grammar, first to be sure of the rules. And when you learn the rules, after that, to be able to use them freely. Exercises. So at this stage we have only one exercise, so we are going to pass through the answers in this video. Check the PDF by yourselves. And we are starting. Turn into reported speech, of course. I like shopping, she said. You start with she said. She said, she, and after that, present simple goes to past simple. She said she liked shopping. I'm going to the office, he said. He said he was going. Be goes to the form in the past, so is, was. He said he was going to the office. I'll be back home in a minute, she said. She said she would be back home in a minute. Will, would. I finished my homework, he said. He said he had finished his homework. I've seen you somewhere, she said. She said she had seen me somewhere. Present perfect, past perfect. I'd finished when you came, she said. Be careful here. I'd finished, had finished. In reported speech, past perfect stays past perfect, which means she said she had finished when I had come. Past perfect in both scenarios. That was just the beginning, and it's really important to understand and to remember the basics. Tenses: present simple, past simple, past perfect, will, would, present continuous, past continuous, past perfect continuous. Okay? And after that, present perfect, past perfect stays past perfect. Yes, I know them. The idea here is to catch the logic. After that, it's not memorizing by heart, it's just logical thinking. See you in the next video. Reported speech, second part. Well, so far we spoke about the change in tenses. And I told you that it's not only tenses, it's words as well. So let's check some more examples. This time we will put the emphasis on the words change. Examples: I'm seeing the doctor this afternoon. Tom said he was seeing the doctor. You know this one, present continuous goes to past continuous. That afternoon. This goes into that. I lived in Spain last year. Tom said he had lived in Spain the year before. The year before. And that's not everything. Here's a list of some of the words that get changed in a reported speech. So, here goes into there. Now, then. Today, that day. Yesterday, the day before. Tomorrow, the next or the following day. This goes into that. These, those. Ago, before. So memorize these words. It's the same as with tenses. If you don't know the basic rules, it will be difficult to master something after that. It will be difficult to start using it correctly. Practice by the exercise. It's attached in the PDF, so you're doing it by yourselves and we are checking it. And here the answers are. I wanted to call you yesterday, she said. What you need to be careful about. First, we have a change in tense. Second, we have a change in word. She said in the first sentence, past simple, so past perfect. She said she had wanted to call him yesterday goes into the day before. I'll come tomorrow, he said. He said, I will come, so will goes into would. He said he would come the following day. Tomorrow goes into the following day. We've never seen these children, they said. They said they had never seen, so past perfect, those children. These goes into those. I met her an hour ago, she said. She said she had met her before an hour. So tense, past simple goes to past perfect, ago goes to before, and you see there is a change in the words order. She said she had met her before an hour. I saw you today, she said. She said, past perfect, she had seen me. Today goes into that day. My sister arrived an hour ago. She said her sister, past simple goes to past perfect, had arrived. Ago goes to before an hour. Be very careful when you speak, when you write, when you try to retell somebody something. Tenses, words. And let's now check some other structures. Yes, that's not everything. You're right. So see you in the next video. Reported speech again. Reported speech, and this time we are continuing with questions. Or, in other words, let's see how we will retell somebody else's questions. Two types of questions, two types of structures here. Once at a time, starting with everything. Do you like jazz music? He asked me if I liked jazz music. So, do you like, or general question, was transformed if you liked. Have you been to Russia? He asked me if I had been to Russia. Have you been? If you had been. Look at these two examples again. So, what's the common thing? When you ask a general question or a question which has yes, no answer, then you use if. He asked me if. After that, you form the normal statement sentence, the normal affirmative sentence, and all of the rules that you know about the tenses are applicable here. So, do you like do you like jazz music? Present simple. In the question, it needs to go into past simple. Because it is a general question, the transformation starts with if. He asked me if, and after that, past simple. If I liked jazz music. Second sentence. He asked me, general question again. Because of that, we use if, and after that, in the main sentence, have you been, present perfect, goes one step back into past perfect. If I had been to Russia. But there is another type of questions. These are the questions that start with the question words, with the WH words. When did you move to England? Well, in this situation, we use a different structure. He asked me when I had moved to England. When did you move goes into when you had moved. Another example. What do you know about this story? He asked me what I knew about that story. So, what do you know goes into what I knew. Look at these two sentences again. The two questions in direct speech start with the question words when or what. It doesn't matter which the question word is. When the direct speech question starts with a question word, then you need to keep this question word in the reported speech sentence. You see, when did you move? He asked me when. After that comes the change of tenses. The same logic here as in the affirmative, in the positive sentences. When I had moved. So past simple in the question, past perfect in the reported speech transformation. The other thing that you need to keep in mind when it comes to these transformations is the words transformation. Again, this goes into that. Sounds easy. Let's practice. One exercise attached in the PDF, 5 sentences, but be careful and think about everything. Think about the structure of the question. Think about the way your question is asked. Think about the tenses, about the words, and we are checking it together. Okay? Where are you from? He asked me. He asked me. The question starts with a question word, which we keep. Asked me where, and after that, I was from. First sentence in present simple goes one step back in past simple. Where I was from. Was he here? She asked me. She asked me if. You don't have a question word here, so you start with if. Past simple, in the question, one step back, past perfect. If he had been here, third change, here goes into there. So here, there, change of words. If he had been there. Number 3. How long have you worked here? He asked me. He asked me, after that the question word, how long? I. Have you been working or have you worked here? Present perfect. One step back. Present perfect goes into yes, past perfect. He asked me how long I had worked here goes into there. How long I had worked there. When did you arrive? She asked me. She asked me, question word when, I, after that one step back in time, when I had arrived. Why does he travel abroad so often? He asked. He asked me why he, and after that, does he travel? Present simple. One step back, past simple. Why he traveled abroad so often. Well done. I hope you feel that you're getting better. But still, I have some other things to retell you about reported speech. See you in the next video. In this last part of the reported speech series, we are going to speak about commands, or in other words, how to say that somebody told you to do something. Examples. Don't go there. He told me not to go there. Not to go. Speak up. He told me to speak up. It's easy, you see. So, don't go there, or direct speech in which the command has the negative not, don't go. He told me not to go. Not plus infinitive of the verb. Speak up. He told me to, and after that, the infinitive of the verb. Practice. The PDF is attached. We are directly starting. The exercise, as you have done it, you have noticed that it's a little bit more different. Well, here you have the opposite transformation. The given sentences are in reported speech already. What you need to do is to turn them into direct speech. Tom said he was very busy then. I am very busy now, Tom said. Was, past simple, goes to present simple. Then goes to now. She said that she was going to college. I am going to college, she said. Was going, one tense ahead, means I am going. Anne says that her father is an engineer. My father is an engineer, Anne says. Be careful here. We haven't mentioned this one so far. When the verb is in the present, this says the verb which is in red, it's called a reporting verb. So when the reporting verb is in present, then there is no change in the sentence. Again, reporting verb in present, no change in the sentence. But when the reporting verb is in the past, then you apply all of the rules that you know. He told me that he loved me. I love you, he told me. If you have any questions, Q&A section. He wanted to know if she knew Mark. Okay, if, so we have a question, a general question. If she knew, we need a general question in present simple. Do you know Mark? He asked me. He wondered why I hadn't phoned him. Why? Question word, so we start the question with the question word. Why haven't you phoned me? He wondered. Past perfect, present perfect. Why not past simple here? Because we don't have the marker of past simple. There is no indicator saying that you know when the action happened. No, you don't know. So present perfect. And number 7, he said that he could not drive them home. I can't drive you home, he said. He said that he could not. He could not, modal verb in the present, can't. Good job. Next video is waiting. Before we go to the last 3 new topics I want to introduce you to at the end of this level of the course, let's first revise passive. Passive or active? If you have some doubts in the forms, please return to the previous lectures in the previous levels and revise it, because here we are doing exercises on that. So we are starting. The PDF attached, you know what to do. The first exercise. Choose the correct phrase. The Prime Minister was criticized for his recent actions. Was criticized. Passive. When I walked past, their new carpet was being delivered. Past continuous, passive. When I walked past, the carpet was being delivered. Our new teacher has told us to take our favorite book to school. Our new teacher has told us. When exactly, it's not said and it's not important for this action. 4. This picture was probably taken in summer. Was probably taken. Past simple, passive. Why it can't be has probably taken? Well, because the form of passive in present perfect here is wrong. 5. The essays must be handed in on Monday. Passive of a modal verb. Must be handed in on Monday. This book was written a decade ago. This book was written. Passive, past simple. Ago is the marker. Was your airplane ticket paid for you by your dad? Question in past simple passive, which starts with the auxiliary was. Was your plane ticket paid for you by your dad? Next exercise. Here what you need to do is to write the sentence, first in passive, then to turn it into active. The first one. Our car is being serviced by the mechanic at the moment. At the moment, present continuous. Passive, now active. The mechanic is servicing our car at the moment. The second one. A man was shot last night. Last night, past simple. Was shot. Okay, passive. Now inactive. Someone shot a man last night. Active. Next. This photo was taken by my dad last week. Past simple, passive. My dad took this photo last week. Past simple, active. The dog is being given an injection by the vet. At the moment. How we understood which tense to use? By the first sentence given. Can't speak now. The dog is being given an injection by the vet. The same one in active. The vet is giving an injection by the dog now. Is giving. And 2 more. It looked like the window had been broken with a hammer sometime before. Sometime before the moment I saw it. It looked like the window, past perfect, passive, had been broken. Now active. It looked like someone had broken the window with a hammer. Had broken. He hasn't been noticed by anyone yet. Yet, present perfect, as there is only one action in the sentence. The same one in active. No one has noticed him yet. Okay, that was just to help you revise what you know, because it's very important to repeat the new information. Otherwise, you will start forgetting. And if you are not sure about the basics, about the grammar rules, then you will not be able to speak fluently. And this is our aim, to make you speak. See you in the next video. Defining and non-defining relative clauses. This is what we are going to speak about right now. In fact, it just sounds a little bit more complicated. It's easy when you catch it, as everything else. And again, we are starting with an example. The woman who we met yesterday is my aunt. Another example. Yesterday I visited my aunt, who is a vet. And let's compare these two sentences in their, pay attention, punctuation, because this is the first time in which the meaning of a sentence that we are checking is going to be defined by the punctuation used. So, the woman who we met yesterday is my aunt. No commas here. Who, you know, who is used when you speak about people. The same with that when you speak about people. When you speak about things, which or that. When you speak about places, where. This is from the previous level. So, the woman who we met without any punctuational signs here, without commas. After that, yesterday I visited my aunt who is a vet. So this time there is a comma. And why this one is so important? Well, because when you don't put commas, you say that the information is important. This information is important for the understanding of the sentence. The woman who we met yesterday is my aunt. If you skip this part of the sentence, who we met, well, it won't be clear. It won't be understandable who you are talking about. The woman who we met, in this case, it's clear. And this part, who we met, is important. When the part is important, it can't be skipped from the sentence, and grammatically speaking, it's called defining relative clause. The other sentence. Yesterday I visited my aunt who is a vet. Well, this time, who is a vet, there is a comma in front. And when there is a comma, this one means that you are using non-defining relative clause. Or in other words, you say that this information is not important for the general understanding of the sentence. This is just additional information. Yesterday I visited my aunt. That's important. The fact that she is a vet, well, this is important of course, but it is irrelevant to the meaning that I'm giving you now. So defining without comma, non-defining with comma. And we are doing exercises because this is one of those specific grammar structures which can be learned and understood in context only. The PDF you are checking, you are doing, and we are checking together now. The first one, choose the correct. The minister who was elected last week made no comment on the problem. Which or who? Obviously who. Who is used for people? Which is used for things. Isn't this the place where the accident happened last night? Where? You speak about places. Where? There are several reasons why I don't want to go out tonight. There are several reasons why I don't want to go out tonight. the new boy in the class. Pay attention to these two words, and if you have forgotten something, now is the moment to revise. So, the new boy in the class, whose name is Mark, whose because you express possession, and you don't need who is, which is given in red here. Seems really nice. And number 5, Blackpool Tower, which was modeled on the Eiffel Tower, is very popular. Now I want to explain here something else. I told you several times that which and that are synonyms, and that they can be used when you refer to people and when you refer to things. Okay, but exception. When there is a comma, remember this one. When there is a comma, you can't use that. In front of that, you never add comma. Never ever. When that is part of a relative clause. Never. Remember this one. So because of this rule, here we need which. We can't put that. Next one. Fill in with the correct word. This is the station, place, where, unmet town. August is the month when most people go on holiday, time. Do you know the reason? So why so many people in the world learn English? This is the church, place, where Pete and Tammy got married. Edinburgh is the town, place, where Alexander Bell was born. The 25th of December is the day, time, when children in Great Britain get their Christmas presents. About these linking words again: where, places, when, time, why, reason, who or that, people, which or that, things. And you're careful about the comma. If there is a comma, never that after this. Last exercise. You need to combine the sentences with a relative clause. So here you need to be careful if the information is important or not. Prince Charles is heir to the throne of England. His wife was Princess Diana. Well, of course, the information that Princess Diana was the wife of Prince Charles is important. But up to the main meaning of the sentence, that Prince Charles is the heir to the throne, this is irrelevant. Because of that, we need the commas. The euro replaced a lot of national currencies. It was introduced in January 2002. Here it depends on you. If you want to say that this information is important, you do not put commas. If you want to say that it is irrelevant, you put them. Friends ran for 10 years. It's my sister's favorite series. So here we decide that the main information is that the serial movie ran for 10 years, which means that the information about my sister's tastes are kind of irrelevant. And because of that, I just want to separate them with commas, which is my sister's favorite series. 1984 was written by George Orwell. His real name was Eric Blair. So the main information in this sentence is that the book was written by George Orwell. The fact that he wrote it under a nickname is irrelevant. Because of that, you put the comma. I told you, it's one of the grammar structures that is easy to understand in context. Good. 2 more to go, and we are ready with the level. See you in the next lecture. There is one more type of questions that we haven't spoken about so far. They're called question tags, and they're quite easy and they're quite useful. So let's pass through them. Examples. It's cold outside, isn't it? The movie starts at 8, doesn't it? So first examples, as always, after that I'll explain you everything. You didn't forget your umbrella, did you? The three sentences again. It's cold outside, isn't it? The first part, up to the comma, is positive, with the verb to be, present simple. The second part, negative, present simple. Second example. The movie starts, present simple positive, doesn't it? The tag, negative, present simple. Did you start catching the logic? You didn't forget negative past simple, did you? Positive past simple. So in short, when the first part of the sentence is positive, the question tag is negative. When the first part of the question is negative, the question tag is positive. That's it. And you keep the tense. Of course, you do already need to know the tenses in English. Let's practice. PDF attached. We are checking the exercises now. Tom is keen on sport, isn't he? Is, negative, isn't he? Maria hasn't forgotten about the meeting, has she? Negative, positive. We shouldn't enter this room, should we? We shouldn't, negative, tag, positive, should we? Let's ask someone for directions, shall we? Be careful, it's an exception, and it's one of the sentences that are quite often given on tests and exams, and this is a sentence that people quite often find difficult to formulate. Let's ask someone for directions, shall we? Just stop for a minute and listen to me, will you? Again, be careful, just stop. So here you're giving a command, and when you give a command in the question tag, you need to form it on this way. You need future simple. Somebody will help us, won't they? Will help, positive. Won't they, negative. There weren't any problems, were there? There weren't, negative. Were there, positive. I'm late again, aren't I? Another exception. I'm late in the question tag, aren't I? Not am I not. Aren't I? You didn't apologize to him, did you? You didn't, did you? Negative, positive. Nobody remembered to book the tickets, did they? Another exception, be careful with these sentences. So, nobody remembered. The negative meaning, the negative connotation, comes from the nobody, from this word. And from here, you decide that you need to use the positive tag at the end, did they? Another example, I'm late, aren't I? They're waiting, aren't they? He has left, hasn't he? These are easy, so that's why I'm not explaining anything. If you have questions, please Q&A section. It works, doesn't it? I've finished, haven't I? You like it, don't you? You can see him, can't you? I'm not late, am I? Am I? You see, it's not a problem to say am I, but it's a problem to say am I not. He isn't leaving, is he? He hasn't finished, has he? Enough. One more lecture, looking forward to seeing you there. The last type of questions and the last new grammar structure that I want to introduce you to in this level are the so-called indirect questions. As grammar structures, they are quite similar to reported speech. So because of that, you will find them easy. Let's see. So normal question is what's the time? And after that, can you tell me what the time is? Can you tell me? And after this, we need to use the normal affirmative structure or the normal way a sentence is formed. What the time is. You don't need the inversion, which is typical for the questions. What the time is. Another example. When does the shop close? When does the shop close? Can you tell me? And you see, here, in fact, in this first part, is taken the question structure. Can you tell me? Inversion is here, question is here. After that comes the normal affirmative structure. When the shop closes. Imagine that after these initial structures, you are making an affirmative sentence with a full stop at the end. So you don't need to use the auxiliary does. You just need to use the form of the verb in the correct tense and in the correct person. Am I late? Can you tell me if I am late? In the previous two examples, when the question started with the question words, you needed the question words in these transformations. Here, the question starts with the general am I, or this is a general yes-no question. Because of that, when you make the indirect question, you need if as a linker. If and the same rules applied after that. And one more example. Does the train stop here? It's again yes-no question, so you're following the rule from the previous example. Can you tell me if the train stops here? Exercises. PDF attached, doing exercises, and explaining everything again. Let's do it. Start with can you tell me? Where does he play football? Where does he play? Starts with where, with the question word. After that, present simple. Can you tell me where he plays football? No inversion needed, just normal sentence formed. Does he live in London? Can you tell me if as a linker and present simple after that, if he lives in London. Are you hungry? Can you tell me if, because you have a general yes-no question, if you are hungry? What is that? Can you tell me what? And after that, the normal sentence, what that is. Do they work in the USA? General yes-no question. Can you tell me if as a linker, present simple, if they work in the USA. Same instructions. Write sentences starting with can you tell me? Can you tell me when you met? Can you tell me if he is a vet? Can you tell me where the party is? Can you tell me what he does at the weekend? Can you tell me if the children are on holiday this week? So, what you need to remember with these questions is that first you're careful about the question word. After the question word, you're careful about the tense, and you remember that you need to structure everything as an affirmative sentence or sentence with a full stop. Well done. I don't know if you realize it, but you have already learned a lot, really. Just imagine from where we started, almost from the alphabet, in fact. And now we are speaking about indirect questions. I'm proud of you. See you in the next level, not only in the next lecture. Next level, B2. See you there.